The Samsung Radioshack 500 on Fox is brought to you by Radioshack. You've got questions, we've got answers. By the United States Army, an army of one. By Ford, the official truck of NASCAR. And by Valvoline's Max Light, formulated to keep your higher mileage car running for a long, long time.
More than 200,000 people gathering here at Texas Motor Speedway and seeing a good one. Ryan Newman leading Jamie McMurray. Next weekend, the scene will shift to Talladega. Another full weekend of racing action. On Friday, the NASCAR Busch Series practice. That's on Speed, followed by NASCAR Winston Cup qualifying on FX. Saturday, Winston Cup practice on FX, followed by the Busch Series. The Aaron's 312, that's on Fox. And Sunday, start your day with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice Triple Black on Fox Sports Net, followed by Winston Cup Racing with the Aaron's 499 on Fox. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. going for his 4th straight win at Talladega. That's never been done before. And we have an hour pre-race show with Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. That hour pre-race show next week, and you'll have time in your cutaway car to explain everything.
We'll be able to get everybody all filled in and ready to go right next week. This is going to be exciting for sure down at Talladega.
All right, quickly, we got kind of a mid-20s Midwestern theme going here. Last year's Rookie of the Year, Ryan Newman leading Jamie McMurray, who is currently leading the rookie class, and they're both in their mid-20s. Ryan, of course, from Indiana, and Joplin, Missouri is where Jamie McMurray is from. Well,
both these guys are doing an outstanding job, and I think the other thing that's kind of interesting right now is we've got 2 Dodges right now heading to the pack. So Dodge needs to break through and get them a victory, and things are kind of interesting.
Let's listen in. Matt Borland, crew chief with Ryan Newman.
Ryan, how do you think those tires would feel as far as no tires versus 2 tires?
2 tires would probably be better, Matt. Just from a standpoint that they're cooler.
10-4. We're bouncing around between 11 and 12 laps right now, or sorry, 11 and 12 gallons of fuel right now, which is just a tick over 1 can.
4.
So a little bit of insight on the tire strategy, something we touched on in the pre-race show, and something to keep an eye on these final few laps.
Yeah, with the last few laps here, you got an opportunity. They got one more stop they're going to have to make, so making that right choice is going to be real important, isn't it, Matt?
Well, Jeff, what they're working on down here, you could hear the conversation. No tires or 2 tires. They're a little bit short of 1 can of fuel on their last stop. If they can save enough, they can only use 1 can, and then that way they can save more time and maybe do 2 tires or no tires, Chris.
All right, so to continue the tire strategy, of course, Ryan Newman's teammate with Dodge, Rusty Wallace. Let's check in with Steve Burns on that. Steve?
Yeah, Chris, good strategy here on the 2 car. They're coming in right now. Rusty's in. They topped off on gas. They know they can't go the rest of the way, but what they may bet on is just taking 2 tires on their last stop.
And Rusty Wallace currently running 15th. Let's go back upstairs to see how this all plays out with Larry, Mike, and Darrell.
86 laps to go when they come around. Ryan Newman leading McMurray with 16 cars on the lead lap. Robbie Gordon did not get his lap back in the run to the caution. Both Labonte brothers caught a lap down now, and here's Dick Berggren.
Christian Fittipaldi has just emerged from the care center, substituting for Kyle Petty, who crashed so hard last week at Bristol. Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm okay. No problem. Car was running great up to then. The guys gave me a pretty good car. Brake pedal was going really down the last 10 or 15 laps, and I guess going down the back straight, I just forgot to pump it up. And when I got into turn 3, I think I locked the rear wheels, and I spun.
Here they go, down for the start. We're glad you're okay.
Tough break for the Brazilian as we get the restart green flag.
Need to note that Dale Jarrett, who is in for repairs more, he topped off along with Jeff Burton. Again, if you've got to put a can of fuel in there, changing right side tires is almost free because it takes 7 or 8 seconds to change those tires like it does to take that dump that 1 can of fuel.
Robbie Gordon will not get out in front of Ryan Newman to get back on the lead lap here.
It's a dilemma, Larry. I don't want to put myself in a box to where if a caution comes out, I'm sitting out there on worn out tires. But I'd almost like to just get me enough fuel to get me to the finish and don't mess with my tires.
Exactly.
But then you got to worry about what if a caution comes out, you're going to have to come back to pit road then to get tires.
Thing you have to be careful also, Darrell, you know this, sometimes you have to make a little chassis adjustment with 2 right side tires because that will actually automatically tighten the race car up, make it push a little more.
Bobby Labonte's around on the back, y'all. He just went around off of 2.
And in the wall. Caution at lap 251. In the last 25 laps, we've had 4 caution flags, and nobody gets a lap back from Ryan Newman.
Kevin Harvick, the 29, was making a gallant effort. He just could not get there.
Boy, Bobby just come off a 2. He got high over there, and I think he got out in the loose stuff, picked up on his tires, and around he went.
9th caution flag of the day. And surprising that more cars weren't involved.
And of those 9, I think the last 4 or 5 has been within just the last 20 or so laps.
25 laps, 4 caution flags.
It's just always a matter. I'm sure the fans at home would say, how in the world can you run all those green flag laps and then all of a sudden caution, caution, caution?
Labonte on the outside. Let's see here.
Darrell, we've seen that so many times, though. We saw it, I think, with Steve Park just a few laps ago. The car just comes around on it.
It's a push loose. You come out there under power, a lot of steering input to the left. But as it makes that transition out of the banking up onto that straightaway back there, the back end sometime will swing out with you. There's a transition back there out of the banking up onto the straightaway.
Guess who was right? I hate to laugh, but guess who was right behind him as he slid to the wall?
Not that same photographer.
No, Ricky Rudd.
Oh, no.
He's got a field of 4-leaf clovers. He must have. Rudd's going to pit along with Dave Blaney, Kenny Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and Brett Bodine.
Of course, none of these are lead lap cars. Bob Labonte, they worked and worked and worked this year, made their up to 8th in points. This is really going to hurt them in the points.
You can hear him pounding with a short track speed wrench.
The old ball ping hammer. That time, none of the lead lap cars elected to pit. You know, we had a few cars that had topped off like Rusty Wallace, but everybody else pretty much stayed out this time.
They have packed them in here today at Texas, as you see from our Budweiser aerial coverage. And one thing that you see there is the infield road race course portion, which is where those temporary barriers are on the back straightaway to allow the road race cars in and out of the infield section.
You know, speaking of Budweiser, I want to thank Peter Kramer. He's the head brewmaster at Budweiser. He gave my family and I a really nice tour of the brew house up there this past week.
Let's get a report from the leaders pit. Matt?
Well, Mike, as soon as that caution came out, Matt Borland asked John Erickson, the spotter, how long do you think this caution will last? He said maybe 2, 3 laps most, more than likely. Then he crunched the numbers and he told Ryan Newman, it looks like now we are in our window for 1 can of fuel, so more than likely they will go 2 tires in their final stop.
Yeah, because, Matt, all of these cautions, a good formula is 2 cautions equal 1 green lap as far as fuel consumption. So every caution lap they run, that certainly helps the amount of fuel consumption.
Steve?
Mike, it's been a long day for Bobby Labonte behind the wall. Work continuing on this car. They're going to try and change the radiator and get him back on the racetrack.
Want to again welcome all of our servicemen and women around the world and aboard U.S. Navy ships at sea, watching by American Forces Network coverage, to the nearly 800,000 stationed overseas and abroad. We welcome you to today's race, and we appreciate everything you're doing for our country and to preserve our principles of freedom around the world. We're getting set for the restart with 16 cars still on the lead lap here. Kevin Harvick and Robbie Gordon will be trying to get back on the lead lap from the inside line as we come to the green flag with 2 Dodges out front, Newman and McMurray, the Chevrolet of Earnhardt Jr., the 2 Pontiacs of teammates Benson and Nadeau, 2 Chevys of Green and Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth's Ford, Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Todd Bodine, Ward Burton, Tony Stewart, Mark Martin, Rusty Wallace, and Dale Jarrett are the lead lap cars.
Yeah, that 29 car, Harvick, I'd watch him on this restart. He's got a good enough car. He might be able to get up in front of Ryan Newman and see if he can't get this